Hi, I'm Ernie Shimizi, and welcome to WVVH-TV's coverage of the 18th annual Heart of the Hamptons Ball. Barbara, it's a pleasure to be here. You're the
Regional Director
of the American Heart Association, Long Island. This is a major event. Please tell our viewers what they have in store for tonight.
Well, this is the 18th year we've been doing this event. I've actually started it 18 years ago, so I know for a fact that this is our record-breaking year. We've had 500 people in the past few years, and we're at about 730 people sold out, with about another 100 people coming for the after dinner, and we're going to make a lot of money for the American Heart Association tonight.
We're here in the Hamptons, and this is a quintessential Hamptons event because you're drawing leaders from the community, leaders from the medical field, but also heroes, people who've overcome the challenges of heart disease. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yes, and we actually have heart heroes. We have Arnie Rosenshein, who is a survivor from the surgeon that we're honoring tonight, and he has quite a nice story, a devastating story, and it's nice because he's a survivor. And we also have Christina Civetta, who's a young woman at 30 who has dealt with heart disease her whole life, and she just went out for a run yesterday and works hard and doing great, so she's going to share her story. And we also have our the Burkhart family. Their boy was born with half a heart, and he's running around here with his heart hero cape on, and we're happy that they're all here.
Well, congratulations for all the great work you do. Heart disease is the number one killer here on Long Island and number one in the United States. And stroke is what? Number four.
Number four.
So this is serious stuff, and this is a great event, and we're so thrilled to be part of it as one of your sponsors. For our viewers interested, it's heart.org. Is that the website?
Correct. That's correct. And we welcome any supporters that would like to come and help us with the event next year. So,
hey, once you see this event, you'll want to be part of it.
Yeah, for
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much.
The website actually.
It's such a pleasure to see you, Tony Lobianco, here at this great American Heart Association event. What does this organization mean to you?
Well, listen, we've got to take care of our people, stroke and all the other things that happen to we human beings, and we must support them, tremendously. So I'm happy to be here and happy to help out in any way I can.
And I can see what's good for your heart, this lovely lady.
This is.
Thank you very much. He's good for mine.
Are you planning for a big Hamptons summer here?
Well, no, we don't live here, but we came out to visit our friends, John Katzimatidis and Margot Katzimatidis. So we're staying with them, and we'll come out again for the summer. Yes, but we don't live here, but we live in this city.
Well, we thank you for being part of this event. This raises a lot of money.
Yes.
And one of the reasons why is that people come to meet the stars who are part of our Hamptons community.
Oh, sweet.
And thank you for all your support.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you. And go Friars.
Where is Ella?
Dr. Girardi, congratulations on this great honor, distinction of being one of our distinguished recipients here tonight. Your career is something, and looking at your career at New York Hospital and where you've progressed from there, what does the American Heart Association mean to you as a doctor who works this every day?
Well, the thing that we really appreciate about the Heart Association is all the work that they do in awareness. So many people don't know that they have problems. So many people don't understand the importance of their diet, their cholesterol, their family histories, and they do a great job of keeping the public aware, getting physicians aware. And then the other thing that they do for us that's even more important now than ever is help us raise money for research. And as you know, it's just getting more and more difficult. The government funding isn't what it used to be, and associations like the American Heart are vital to keeping things moving forward so we can try our best to cure disease, to fix disease, to make people better without having to need for guys like me, whom nobody really wants to see or meet, but we're there to help, and things don't quite go the way they should.
Well, congratulations on being this year's recipient of the Distinguished Service Award. You're one of the superstars of this field, and I see that you share part of your honor is you're working with Dr. Isom, who we know very well, who's a regular out here in the Hamptons.
Yes, he is.
And has he been a mentor to you in your career?
He has been a mentor in more ways than I can even elucidate here. He's not only taught me many things as a surgeon, but as a person. I admire him for so many reasons beyond what he taught me in the operating room and how to take care of people. He taught me how to treat people, not just in the hospital, but everywhere in your whole life. And the importance of being nice to everybody, and as he likes to say, treating everybody as if they were your mama and your daddy. And that's what he would tell you every time, and I try to live by that.
You're being honored tonight as a heart hero, and yours is this is Arnie Rosenshein. And Arnie, your story can be told by many.
Could be anyone's story at any time. The heart problems can affect anybody. It doesn't discriminate against who you are. I was very fortunate to be in the hands of a major surgeon, Len Girardi. So I'm very thankful to be here.
And Len is likewise being honored tonight. And in your case, it was an aneurysm.
It was an aneurysm, which very few people survive, and it's a matter of being at the right place at the right time with the right physicians.
I understand it was your wife who insisted on your being brought to the hospital.
Had I waited, as I told my wife I wasn't feeling well, wait 10 or 15 minutes, I would be gone. So my wife actually rushed me off to the emergency room, and we got the best care, and I'm here today celebrating.
Well, you're here celebrating. And in reading your bio, you mentioned that the one thing that really got to you was that you'd never see your daughter again.
Yes, I was actually told I would be dead within 10 minutes, and the thought was extremely frightening, and the only thought I had was really if I could only say goodbye to my daughter properly and tell her everything is okay. As it turned out, everything's better than okay.
It sure is.
Yeah.
Any advice for people out there? I mean, in your case, it might have been an accident that caused this, right?
It may have been a ski injury I had a year earlier. It could have been congenital. We're still not sure. But when in doubt, there are tests that one can take. I advise everybody, if there's the slightest doubt about any problems, go to the right doctors and go for the right scanning. Keep yourself healthy.
Rita Cosby, our MC. Now, we share something in common. We're both born in Brooklyn.
Hey, oh my gosh, where? I'm Garrettson Beach Marine Parkway.
Bensonhurst, that whole area.
All right, we'll still talk to you.
We'll
Still, my people will talk to your people. No wonder I like you.
But that's where the similarity ends. You've won
we both have good hair.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's very important in this business. But what a bio you have of interviewing saints to sinners, from John Paul II to David Berkowitz and Michael Jackson in between. But we love you, and also your work on radio.
Thank you. You know what? I've been very lucky that I get to meet so many interesting people and share these amazing stories. And I also feel so lucky that I can give back and do neat things. And I love being here in the Hamptons. I love being here with the American Heart Association. Paula and Arnie Rosenshein are dear friends of mine. And Paula, of course, is one of the big chairs of this event, as is Arnie. But he's also a big hero, as you'll hear, because he went through a very, very close call. And he's going to share that story tonight. So when I knew, of course, of Arnie's background, and then he talked about this event, how could I not help but not want to give back and do something?
It's an important organization, and everyone has been touched by heart disease. It's the #1 killer. But you spoke of hero. You're also an author, Quiet Hero, which is a book you wrote about your father.
It was very, very personal, Ernie. And for me, it was the greatest story of my life. My father was a prisoner of war in World War II. And my father was in, luckily, very good physical shape prior to the war. But during the war, needless to say, you know, he was 90 pounds and 6 feet tall when he escaped from a POW camp. And he literally was rescued by American troops. And so that book is about honoring not just my father, but I think all of the incredible troops out out there, and also the quiet heroes out there, like I think many of the people here tonight, because it's about honoring people who often don't go out and look for accolades, but do incredibly heroic things, and especially some of the doctors who are here. I think of some of the heroes like Arnie, but I also think of Dr. Krieger, and I think of Dr. Girardi and some of these others who every day save lives and literally have life in their hands, you know, at a moment's notice, and do it quietly and often are never acknowledged. So to me, this is really special to be here and to be able to say hats off to them.
Exactly. They need to be acknowledged, and to be acknowledged by Rita Cosby, who is at the top of her game in this this business, and you epitomize the standards.
I've never performed open heart surgery. I've done some neat things in my life, but I've never been that gutsy. So these guys are really gutsy.
Well, all the best here and continued success. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And nice hair, and go Brooklyn.
Good friends of ours from the Hamptons, Hampton Classic, Mr. and Mrs. Kramer. It's such a pleasure to see both of you, and he's an author now, right?
I know.
And you're selling all that big real estate.
That's what I'm doing. Loving it. New York City and the Hamptons.
Jerry, please tell us about what brings you. First of all, the American Heart Association is an important organization.
You know, there are so many charities that deal with, you know, people's needs, and this happens to be one of the top ones because of the number of people who suffer heart disease. And, you know, it's a good cause. The vast majority of the money goes to research as opposed to overhead. So I think it's a worthy opportunity to support something that really means something.
It's touched everyone, hasn't it?
No, it has, actually. Unfortunately, I had lost my father from heart disease, so it's been a very important cause in my life to continue the research. But what's wonderful is that you've got a lot of New Yorkers who actually come out here and they support the causes. Now you've got many more fundraising events in the Hamptons, and it's nice to see that everyone has reached out to support this wonderful cause.
And supporting events like this is important because organizations like this do so much good for the community. And as someone who was involved in state government at the highest level, in fact, I've got to read your book. I want to get some tips as to what really goes on in the assembly.
Not a problem. We owe you a book. The answer really is that government can just do so much, and the private sector has to be part of the whole equation. And it's great that some organization like this can raise money for research and save lives, and that's what it's all about.
Joined by Dr. Carl Krieger, who is also a Distinguished Service honoree here at the American Heart Association event. But tonight you have a different role.
Well, tonight I get to introduce one of the distinguished honorees. His name is Dr. Leonard Girardi. He's an outstanding surgeon. He specializes in aortic aneurysm surgery. He's at New York Presbyterian Hospital, and he's been there. He's the busiest surgeon in New York State and one of the most outstanding surgeons in the country. So I'm very pleased to be able to introduce him as an honoree.
Doctor, how important are events such as this?
I think there's two aspects of this event that's important. First of all, it raises money for the American Heart Association. But more importantly, I think it brings awareness of cardiovascular issues, puts them on the table, provides a format for people to think about their own health and to think about the health of their loved ones. So it's a great event to increase the awareness of cardiovascular disease in this country, which you all know is the #1 killer.
You know, when I interviewed Leonard, who you work with, Dr. Girardi, who's being honored tonight, he said the object is to try to solve problems before they come to your level.
Well, in the best of all worlds, that's the case. You know, if we can practice preventive medicine, then you don't need surgeons like Dr. Girardi or myself. But the reality is that patients do come to us on a regular basis, and they're in dire situations, and so cardiovascular physicians, surgeons, and cardiologists have the job of taking care of them in acute crises.
Thank you so much. Right. It's a pleasure to catch up with two of our dear friends from the Hamptons, the Gruen family, and what a pleasure to see both of you. And you've both been active in this American Heart Association.
Yeah, we've been active for the last 10 years. years. About 7 and 8 years ago, I chaired this event, and as they say, we have come a long way, baby. It was not a Hamptons event, and now it truly is a Hamptons event, and growing every single year for the greatest cause. You know, heart disease is still #1 reason why people die, men and women, with no discrimination between. The more we know, more people are going to be helped and saved by it. Our honoree is a survivor. Believe it or not, I had open heart surgery last year. I'm playing tennis, and it's an unbelievable cause, because heart disease is truly a horrible type of a condition that affects everybody, with no exception.
It does. It affects everyone, doesn't it?
It definitely does.
And in your case, last year, I've never known you to be overweight. I've always known you to be active, tennis, sports. What happened?
You know, there are so many conditions that are inert inside our bodies. The condition I had is called mitral valve prolapse. A lot of people have it. I guarantee you that at least 70% of the people have it.
I have it too.
And
so it's pretty, you know,
prevalent. Yeah.
Prevalent is the word.
And you know, and sometimes it flares up to a point where you cannot breathe, you cannot function. And unfortunately, and nowadays, even with all that physicians know, and a Park Avenue high-end cardiologist diagnosed me as having walking pneumonia. So here at Southampton Hospital, within 3 minutes, they told me I had congestive heart failure. So you have to listen to your body. You have to know when to seek attention at the emergency room, and we are blessed that we have Southampton Hospital. It's a great institution. I had the surgery done at Stony Brook, and the care and the physicians at Stony Brook, it is incredible what they're doing. Better by far than the best hospitals in the city of New York. No question about it.
Well, thank you to both of you. You're so active in so many organizations here in the Hamptons, and us being TV stations who cover this, we know your family's always been active in putting their efforts.
We love you guys. You're always supporting every event. You're here. You present great programs, and keep it up. It's great.
Deborah Halpert, publisher of Hamptons Magazine. Hamptons Magazine is the premier issue, and you're a sponsor of this great event here at the American Heart Association.
Yes, we are. We're so excited to be a part of it for many years.
Hamptons Magazine covers all the great parties, all the great events. What sets this one apart from the rest?
I think it's the heart that goes into the committee that puts it together, and the heart, the cause, which is, you know, so important. Heart disease is so prevalent, and juvenile obesity and everything that goes along with having a healthy heart. So it's important to our community, and it's also important to the people that it affects, which are, you know, so plentiful.
And you've been part of the committee and part of the marketing. It's a sold-out event.
It is, first time. It's really wonderful, so exciting. This is the most exciting year. So much attention, new people coming in for the first time and getting involved, so it's terrific. The energy is amazing.
All right, for the benefit of our viewers, I know we're here for the American Heart Association, but let's talk about the Hamptons this summer. What's your sense of what's happening and what sort of a summer it'll be?
Well, our 36th year of publishing, we have having a vibrant summer advertising and marketing wise, and I think that there's such a good feeling, especially after this pent-up winter, bad weather. People are happy, they're in great mood, they're coming out, spending time, lots of new businesses. Just a great vibe for this summer.
Well, Hamptons Magazine, if you want to know what's happening, and if you're lucky enough to have your photo in Hamptons Magazine, people say they've made it when that happens.
Well, that's true.
We're joined by one of the recipients of the Distinguished Leadership Awards, Dr. Samuel Stanley, Jr. of Stony Brook University, and congratulations, sir. You're the president of Stony Brook University, and those of us who live here on the East End know the value of Southampton Hospital and, of course, Stony Brook University. What does this night mean to you?
Well, it's a great honor, obviously, and of course, I think of it not so much as an individual honor, but really a recognition, as you said, of Stony Brook University and what it means to this region and Long Island as a whole. We're really excited to be recognized tonight. I think, as I said before, we're working very hard to do great things for Southampton, great things for the East End, and great things for Long Island, and this acknowledgement from the American Heart Association is really very special.
Every year, about 9,800 people here on Long Island succumb to heart disease, #1 killer. And Stony Brook has been addressing that by great programs, haven't you?
Absolutely. It's a high focus area for us. It's one of the areas actually of our clinical excellence initiative. We want to provide some of the best care possible for people in Long Island, both for heart disease, heart attacks, and for stroke as well. Both of them require really high tech. Both of them require skill and expertise in dealing with them. And we want to make sure that Stony Brook is at the cutting edge, both in research and in clinical care in those areas.
Well, Dr. Stanley, under your leadership, which appropriately you're being honored for tonight, Stony Brook has expanded programs. You've attracted benefactors, supporters, which is the envy, I'm pretty sure, of a lot of medical institutions across the country.
Well, you're very kind, but I think part of it is we really have a vision and we really have an excellent product. And people like to invest in things that they think are going to be successful and where there's going to be a return on investment. And right now, an investment in Stony Brook medicine, and specifically as we're talking about tonight, an investment in the way we provide heart care, I think is going to pay great dividends, as I said before, right here in Southampton, in all of the East End, on Long Island, and of course, hopefully in the world from the research we do.
Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
It's an honor to meet you, and thank you for all the great work you do for the community. We are all touched by the fact that Stony Brook University is part of Long Island, and we're so grateful that you're at the helm.
Well, thank you, and I really appreciate your very kind words. Thanks.
Joined by Christina Civetta, who's being honored tonight, one of our heart heroes. And your story is unbelievable. You were 18 hours old and you had your first
open heart surgery.
Oh my God. What is it? I mean, this has been part of your life, but the good news is
I'm here now.
You're here now. What a perspective of life you must have for going through all that you've gone through at such a young age.
Yeah, I mean, I've had 6 surgeries, and I just turned 30 in March, and for the first time in my life, I have an adult functioning heart. So it's pretty big miracle, and it's all thanks to the American Heart Association.
Please tell us more.
Well, I think they do an amazing job at raising awareness and pushing science and education for everyone, and testing, different means to, help prevent heart disease. And I mean, through education from everything I've learned from them, I was really prepared and ready for my surgery. I really went in the strongest I've ever been, and I think they're just amazing because now kids my age know that heart disease, A, it's not an old disease, and B, that it's preventable and that you can overcome it.
Well, what you just said is so critical, because when people think of heart disease, they think of, grandpa keeling over. But that's not the case. You were born, you had it with it.
Yeah.
You've had to live with it.
Yep.
And you've conquered it.
Totally.
Tell us
100%.
about your life now. Is it?
I mean, it's great. I actually was working really hard a few years ago, and all of a sudden I collapsed, and so they actually realized that my electrical system had totally failed me, which was not part of the plan. So basically I had a pacemaker put in 3 years ago, and then I had my last open heart surgery last year, and it was really interesting because before, the right side of my heart chamber was double the size of my left, which is basically, because the blood wasn't properly functioning, the liver was going into distress, I was going into complete heart failure. And now in turn, which they didn't know 100% when they started the procedure, and when they, when I went in and I was talking to my doctor, I said, is my heart going to shrink back? Am I going to be good? And they said, look, we have no way to 100% tell. And so actually my surgery was a miracle, because now my right side of my chamber is half the size. I run like 6.5 miles 5 days a week. I work crazy hours, and I feel amazing at the top of my game, and I'm striving to live life and educate people about being healthy and happy, and really to not get upset about the BS in life.
Well, this night is for you, because you're a testament to great doctors, being a willing patient who goes for the best that they can go for in the circumstances you're in, and having that desire to live life, and to hear you talk and hear your testimony testimony of this makes all of this worthwhile.
Thank you.
Continued success to you. And what do you do profession-wise? What is your profession?
I'm the cultural director for Chelsea Hotels, which is super exciting because it's kind of my dream all come together. So my boss is here tonight, and actually a lot of my colleagues and my family's here, who are really the reason I'm here because they fought for me to live. My older brother named me so that I had a name when I went into surgery, because that was his way of saying you got to give her a name because you got to give her life. And I work and I love it, and I feel like I'm finally achieving all my goals.
I could hear you speak all night long because your story is the inspiration which brings the purpose behind these fancy parties that we're attending here in the Hamptons. And it is our pleasure to be joined by Dr. Wayne Isom. Dr. Isom, chairman of New York Presbyterian-Weill Medical College. That title is too much.
There's so many of them, it's hard to keep up with it. But yeah, it's New York Presbyterian-Weill Cornell Medical Center.
Well, sir, pleasure to make your acquaintance. You're legendary in this business, and tonight we honor the men and women who are a part of this healing profession and support the American Heart Association.
Now, you've got Carl Krieger and Leonard Girardi. Leonard Girardi is the honoree, and actually Len is the busiest heart surgeon in the United States. He does more cases than anybody in the U.S. and does them really well, got some of the best mortality. So it's really appropriate that we're honoring him because he gets really good results.
This profession that you're in is at the highest level. You save people's lives who many, as one of our honorees this evening, he was hours away from passing away. He had an aneurysm and was operated by Dr. Girardi. And you're seeing this firsthand. Major advancements have taken place, haven't they, sir?
Oh yeah, really have, and they continue, and they progress at just a rapid rate. Many of the operations I do today were not even done when I was doing my training, so you have to continue training constantly yourself, continually learning.
To hear your kind words about Dr. Girardi, who I interviewed earlier, and he reciprocated concerning yourself, sir, as a mentor for him. You know, we're so blessed to be here in New York and have the talents of great individuals like yourself and Dr. Krieger, as you mentioned, who's also been honored at this event. Prevention is an important part of this. That's what Dr. Krieger mentioned, that if we can get to people before they need to go to the super surgeon.
Well, that's what I've always said. You know, we get the horse in after it's already out of the barn. What we should do is keep the horse in the barn. We get them out of the barn. If they take care of themselves, but they do well. But the prevention and then the continued care of decreasing the risk, and that's pretty well known now. So we should be working on that too.
And that's the role of the American Heart Association.
And the Heart Association really does that.
Well, continued success, sir. Thank you for bringing life and the best in medical care.
I'll just mention one other thing. The honoree last year was Todd Rosengart, who is now the DeBakey chairman of surgery in Houston. And his work initially, he was with us many years, and his work initially was funded by the American Heart Association, or New York Heart Association, with gene therapy in the heart, and that sort of got him started. Then he got the National Institutes of Health funds. So the New York Heart and American Heart, Long Island Heart, provides funds for young investigators to get started with the new ideas. So it does a fantastic job in research.
It's an exciting time in your profession, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Thank you for watching WVVH-TV's coverage of the 18th Annual Heart of the Hamptons Ball. For WVVH-TV, I'm Arnie Rosenshein. So.